Ohio State has signed a top 5 class in every recruiting cycle since 2020. The 2024 class, remember that finished at number 3 overall, and currently in 2025, Ohio State is number 2 behind only LSU. But this week, several recruiting prediction machine picks went in favor of the Buckeyes, and in this video, we're going to take a look at some of these recent predictions and see what's going on in Columbus. But first, guys, do me a favor. Hit subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. We love talking Ohio State recruiting all off season. We're going to do it. I'm telling you, it's going to be exciting. So hit subscribe. All right, let's bring on Matt Parker from Letterman Row. Before we get to your picks, Matt, Chad Simmons, Director of Recruiting for On3, put in a pick for top 100 linebacker Justin Hill. Now, you guys at the site, you guys already put your picks in early. But when could this one be coming off the board? Could Justin Hill be committing soon?
I wouldn't expect a decision anytime soon, Josh. Talking with Justin for, about a year now and change, he's really wanting to go through this process to the entirety of he sees it playing out, which includes some spring visits. Like he's going to be at Ohio State March 19th. I would assume he'll be at Oregon and a couple of other places that he's really interested in, Alabama as well. And then expect official visits in June. And I do believe he is looking at an early July decision. So even though Ohio State is sitting in a pretty good position right now, this is going to go until about July or so.
All right. Now, these recruitments, they always say that they're going to go long. They're going to go to the distance, and then we see them shorten them up, shorten it up, shorten it up. But right now, Justin Hill going to go the distance. Yeah, we'll see. All right, new Ohio State predictions, and we'll start at the top here with wide receiver Jamie French. You really got this thing going. You got the recruiting world buzzing with a recruiting prediction machine pick on 5-star wide receiver Jamie French to Ohio State. Obviously, you're playing the long game here, but what gives you the confidence to put in a pick at 60% for French to Ohio State?
Well, it's 2 words and it's 1 name, Brian Hartline. You just see what he has done. I feel like we're just a broken record here, kind of repeating ourselves a little bit.
Yeah.
But ever since Jamie French decommitted from Alabama, there's 2 schools that you heard of, that you've been hearing of, and it's Ohio State and it's Florida State. And we heard about that last year in the 2024 cycle with Jeremiah Smith, who now is 2 practices in as an Ohio State Buckeye.
Yep.
Jamie French plays for South Florida Express, which Ohio State is very familiar with. And I just see the production capabilities that Ohio State does, what they have done in terms of development, what they are doing on the recruiting trail now. And it's hard for me to bet against Brian Hartline when there's a 5-star wide receiver from Florida that he really, really wants. So I'm playing the long game, like you said, Josh.
That's one that kind of sets the tone. I know your message boards. How many times do you think your message board is going to ask you throughout this recruitment how confident you are in that pick of French to Ohio State?
Truly, I think the Letterman Row message board wants to see a little bit more information about offensive tackles than it does 5-star wide receivers. But that's kind of just the expectation, is that 5-star wide receivers are going to head to Columbus no matter where they're at.
Yeah, especially from the state of Florida. I agree. I think it's Ohio State for Jamie French until it ain't, until Brian Hartline misses on one of these elite guys. You got to keep predicting them to Ohio State. Another position in need is the edge position, and you put in a pick for Mariyon Dye from Elkhart, Indiana. He goes 6'6", 235, an absolute monster of a pass rusher. You like Ohio State here over UGA, Miami, and Tennessee?
This is a little bit of another long-term kind of play for me here. I was looking at, Chad Simmons reported about this a couple of weeks ago, and it's an unofficial top 4 right now of Ohio State, Georgia, Tennessee, and I believe it's Oklahoma. Or there's a school I'm missing out there. But the most important thing in that unofficial top 4 is that Ohio State is the only school that is north of the Mason-Dixon line that is in that school in that top school list for a Midwest prospect. And when that's the case, I feel pretty confident about Ohio State being able to cross state lines, go to Indiana, and get an edge rusher that they, A, really want, and B, really need. Ohio State is going to need to have a big defensive line class, particularly on the edge, with guys like JT Tuimoloau and Jack Sawyer heading to the this is their last season at Ohio State. There's not a lot of depth behind them either after a couple misses in 2023 and 2024. So Ohio State's going to have to load up, and it's going to have to be with talented guys like Mariyon Dye. So another long-term play here with that pick, but I do expect Ohio State to get that one done as we sit here right now on March 10th.
All right, now let's move down the list to running back Marquise Davis. He's at Cleveland Heights, and he has a great combination of size and speed. He goes 5'11", 200 pounds, so a bit of a bruiser. You guys at the site have been telling us to keep an eye on this one. Now that the picks are in, what's the decision timeline look like for Marquise Davis?
So I was recently up in Cleveland Heights visiting Marquise Davis, and I spoke last time I spoke with him in October about this very topic. He gave me three different answers in the same question, right? Now he's looking to have this decision made and be done before his senior season begins in August.
Okay.
I would expect maybe a mid-July, even a late July decision for Marquise Davis. Ohio State is certainly one of the top schools in his recruitment right now. So is USC, Michigan, Tennessee, Kentucky. There's a number of schools that are really high on Marquise Davis, and he's high on them as well. I would expect a spring visit for Davis to Ohio State, make the short 2-hour drive from Cleveland to Columbus, and just continue to grow that relationship. Ohio State is going to need at least 2 running backs in this 2025 cycle. And I like Marquise Davis right now to Ohio State.
All right, let's switch back to the defensive line. London Merritt, 4-star from Atlanta, playing at IMG Academy. He's 6'2", 235. Put a pick in for him to Ohio State. Seems to like Alabama as well. Do you see Bama as the biggest competition here?
If you told me that Nick Saban was going to be the head coach at Alabama for 2024, I would absolutely say yes. And would absolutely say yes. Now, I'm still saying yes, but there is a large separation between the two. Just talking with some sources with Ohio State and things like that. Ohio State feels in a pretty good position right now for London Merritt. He's already set his official visit to Ohio State for the second or third weekend of June. And he's going to be on campus March 30th, which is a pretty big visitor day for Ohio State. Jamie French is going to be there. A pretty big 5-star kind of weekend for Ohio State at the end of this month. Again, we go back to Ohio State needing to fill up its defensive line board for 2025, Josh. London Merritt sees a real opportunity there. And this is a recruitment to pay attention to because Ryan Day has really, really inserted himself in this recruitment. And when the head boss inserts himself really, really, big inside of a recruitment, it's really time to start paying attention.
Yeah, making him a big-time priority. So all this talk about recruiting prediction machine picks, but who could be the next to commit? Are we looking at somebody from this list the next to commit, or is it TJ Alford, the 4-star linebacker out of Florida, who is set to decide at the end of March?
I would say TJ Alford is the guy that we really have to watch. He has a commitment date set for March 30th. He has an unofficial visit to Ohio State March 23rd. I've put in a pick on the Buckeyes to land him. My colleague Alex Gleitman has put in a pick. Corey Bender of Gators Online has made a pick for Ohio State. So you're starting to see the trajectory and all the picks are starting to roll in. And that decision date, that announcement date is going to be here before we know it, Josh. But I think TJ Alford is the one that we have to watch. As much fun as it would be someone on that list, I think it's TJ Alford.
Hey, we have the whole cycle for these guys to commit. Doesn't mean they need to come off the board right now. I like some of these long-term projections, some of these picks that you put in. It really shook up the recruiting world. Matt Parker from Letterman Row, appreciate you taking some time to talk Ohio State recruiting today on the Inside Scoop.
Appreciate the time, Josh.
Thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed that, go check out the hundreds of videos that we have on this channel, and also do me a favor, hit subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel.